Welcome back. We are jumping into our next segment, and this one is really just pushing down the conversation of our call-in on Fridays. We know that the phone lines are officially open, but before we do that, we want to jump in what's kind of like the trending topic right now. As we mentioned when we opened the show, it is the start of the La Ruta Maya River Challenge. That began what time this morning? 7 a.m.
It starts at 7.
Okay, and we have our team out already grabbing footage and capturing the sights and sounds. We have our colleague Shane Williams and videographer, just Shane Williams out there capturing what's taking place.
One of the amazing of the many videographers you have. I believe it is Dennis.
Yes, and I understand we're going to hear from him in just a moment as well.
He's going to call in. He's going to call in and just give our viewers an opportunity to hear some of what he experienced this morning at the start of the La Ruta Maya Belize River Challenge, 7 a.m. And then, of course, he's going to be preparing a package.
All right, so Shane is on the phone now.
Oh,
so
we're
going to go right into that. Shane, good morning.
Can we hear him? Do we have audio on the speaker? All right, we're going to get some audio on the speaker.
Right.
Shane, can you hear us?
I hope he can at least.
I can hear you.
All right, there he is.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So tell us, Shane, what's the weather like up west?
It was raining headed over here, but the weather is beautiful. It can't be more beautiful here in the hills of Cayo.
Okay.
It was really exciting this morning. We had 58 teams lying up at the Hawksworth Bridge for this year's La Ruta Maya.
58.
And you know all the controversy settled once that cannon went off.
Yeah.
And the teams took off. It was a burst of energy, like the organizers could have breathed a sigh of relief that the race is finally here.
You said, so so that's the sense that you got, that once the race took off, and we have some footage, you sent in some stuff, we're going to be showing that shortly, but you said that you gathered the sense that as soon as the race kicked off, which we're looking at right now, that the controversy kind of settled. But what do you think is going through some of the minds of the paddlers based on conversations you've had previously or during the course of this week and last week?
Yes. Well, for today, Paul, what we are noticing for the La Ruta Maya race is that most people who enter, their hope is just to finish. They don't really care where it is like. The majority just hope to finish because it's over 170 miles over the 4 days.
Wow.
So you have a few who are elites and competitive, like the top teams, the police teams, and others. But for the majority, they just are hoping to finish wherever that lies.
Shane, do you have any sort of information on the teams and if they're doing, based on like all the controversy and so forth, they're still focusing on like categories and so forth?
Yes, there are 8 categories. We spoke to individuals from outside of Belize who came just to participate. As I said, most of the teams, they are in it for the fun of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we are expecting to speak to them at the different stages. But what we are seeing out here is a sigh of relief. We spoke to the organizer, Mr. Harrison, Ola Harrison Roberto, and this will be featured in the news later on, but he is saying that what the younger Harrison said on Saturday about the taking over the race next year and engine broadcast partners, that is not the case. So that is breaking news from today, that they are not taking over the race from the current organizing team. And we'll be having more on that on this evening's newscast.
So I just want to clarify really quickly, Shane, because I know that one of the later update from what was taking place in the controversy was that there would be some specific types of protests taking place, including the boycotting of a particular media organization that has been attached to the La Ruta Maya. Is that taking place still?
Well, that was a movement from the Canoe Association.
Yes.
And even within the Canoe Association, there's a risk because we have the president and those who are close to the president who are saying that we need to honor the race and respect the organizers.
Right.
That's Jesus Linares. He's the actual president of the association. And then we have vice president who is Elvin Penner, and those who are loyal to Penner and are upset about the sudden change, they are the ones who are speaking for boycotting. But for the most part, the elite racers will not be boycotting because they have a responsibility to their sponsors.
That makes
so
sense.
any type of boycotting where they finish the race and turn around and go back into the Halover Creek, that is a safety issue because the current is strong near that bridge, and to return into the direction from where the other competitors are coming in will be extremely dangerous, so that is unlikely to happen as well.
So what about...
That's the intention, but the logistically not really possible to turn around after the finishing of the race.
Good point.
Right, that's very true.
go ahead.
What about the
And we
spectators?
spoke to Commissioner of Police out here as well. He's saying that the protest decision to finish at Belcan Bridge, apart from the finish at the Halover Bridge, will be a logistical nightmare for police, but they are prepared to provide safety wherever paddlers finish.
Well, safety on land, not safety on water.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the spectators, Shane? I know that there are quite some loyal fans that follow it from the start all the way to the end. And we saw some footage there as well where it's bringing out quite a crowd as well for the start. Are they talking about what they're anticipating in terms of perhaps a message from their showing at the final leg?
Well, it was quite a crowd out here, but even from the mayor of San Ignacio, Earl Truck, he's saying that it's a smaller crowd than they are used to. So he doesn't know if it has anything to do with all the controversy surrounding the race, but it was a smaller crowd than years past.
Well, I'm very interesting to hear
And
about...
even the organizers are a little disappointed about the number of paddlers because they were hoping for at least 65.
Yeah.
Remember the high point of this race was 101 paddlers
Yes, that's what I'm
in 2010. So we are quite a ways from that.
No, I just want to ask one final thing, Shane. So we're seeing somewhat of two messages coming from different individuals in the Harrison family. What do you think is the implication of the update from Mr. Harrison, Roberto Harrison, this morning for next year's race? What does it look like for you?
Yeah, it just adds another layer of confusion and another thing that needs to be ironed out. Because we have the rift in Canoe Association between the president and the vice president who have different opinions on whether boycott this or not. And now we have a rift in the actual Harrison family in terms of the future of the race and the broadcast partner and the shape of the competition. So there's a lot that will be changing after this race, after this year. The La Ruta map might look completely different from what we are used to.
Well, Shane,
Even last night's event, the opening of the Ruta Maya,
the meeting.
It was held at different location where it was for a paid entrance. And so even that was different.
Yes. Well, Shane, thank you so much. You've provided so much value to the conversation this morning, and we truly appreciate you. And I know that it's you and Dennis out there. So take care, stay hydrated, and please not get too sunburn up, right?
See you all later.
See you later, man.
All right, we have another caller, so we really want to take that call. Caller, are you still there? Good morning.
We might have lost.
We might have lost the caller. But
okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, caller, you're on live. Can you speak into your phone, please?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Okay, I am calling because I believe that all the Belizeans should boycott this Ruta Maya. It is disgusting to see that a cultural event that was for the people of Belize is being hijacked by Love FM and all these rich people that are taking over now. And I think the people should not go there.
All right, caller. So I'm assuming you're definitely not watching the race this weekend.
No, I'm not watching it at all. I'm not going to deal with it because I think it's wrong.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks.
I think it should be noted that while the conversation surrounding the broadcasters are at its peak this time around, the broadcasters have been a part of this race for the past decade.
Yeah.
Right? And there hasn't been any pushback regarding the service they provide and they offer to the race. Furthermore, I think it's also important to know, just to create some balance, that changes have occurred in the race before, that fees have been added throughout the years. So these occurrences aren't new per se, right? Who broadcasted changes at finishing lines, prices being added. But I think now more than ever, social media has created a platform for people to really voice their opinions and for us to really have a deep conversation and in-depth conversation in terms of varying perspectives on an issue like this.
But I think it also worked to a massive extent, because where they were expecting over 100 paddlers, you now have 58. And where I was looking at the footage just now, and I'm looking at that little crowd. That's a little crowd to me, and watching and following before. What I didn't get to ask Shane is that I'm very curious to see what the spectators would look like along the way.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking about the spectators starting at that point, leading down to the final leg.
Be real though, people won't not come out to watch the race. People won't not come out to support their teams, to support their families, to support tradition. Boycotting the race or having a level of discontent for people, based on my understanding, does not mean they now show up on the riverbank in a village, they now show up that Iguana Creek stop. In fact, they might even that Banana Bank. It doesn't mean they won't show up. They're just discontent with how certain things are going on, and they may not participate in certain aspects. But it's free for go watch it on the riverside.
It's free to watch it at, for example, I saw clips of where the Ministry of Infrastructure Development has cleared the area beside the Halover Bridge.
So
that's a
so the controversy won't stop people from watching. In fact, I think that the La Ruta Maya Belize River Challenge is being talked about more this year than it has ever been. That's my opinion. So you're welcome.
Yeah, that's true. Can you bust this case wide open for real? But really? I will say that it's a little bit disheartening, because it's not just Belizeans that spectate this race. We also do have people that come to watch this. There is no race like this anywhere else. And so it does, I really do hope that they hash out what they need to hash out. It sounds like a lot of people they have their own opinions within the organization, within the sponsorship groups, within, so I'm really, really curious to see how it's going to end. I know Shane is on the case, and that we will be hearing more about it in our news at noon, and of course tonight in our news live broadcast. But
we do have to close off this section of the conversation and take another quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have another exciting conversation to dive into. Mars Production is bringing Paradise Weekend in Belize.